Who wants to wake up with a phone call from me? This guy wants you to give him his money, but there's no way to contact him. How do I get a hold of my fucking local fucking congressman? Jesus Christ. There we go. Local congressman. I don't know if this is. Hopefully, I don't get stalking and harassment for calling these government employees. I know how they get.
Mr. Leach's office.
Yeah, good morning. May I speak to Mr. Leach, please?
He's not in the office.
He's not in the office?
Yeah, no, we've adjourned. He's back in his district.
He's what?
He's back in his district. He's in Tucson.
You mean like it's not the time where they're like every day they're at their office in Phoenix, you're saying?
Right, yeah, we're out of session.
Out of session. Right, thank you. Okay. So does that mean that with the new election coming, does that mean that he'll not get a chance again, or is there like another one coming up?
He's not seeking re-election. I think that might answer your question.
No, I'm not asking about re-election. I'm asking, but isn't he my senator until the other people get sworn in?
Yes.
And I'm saying, is he on vacation till then, or is he going to go back to work at all the rest of this time?
Well, he's handling things as they come in, but he might come up here a couple times out of the month.
I'm talking about, is there going to be more in the fall or something? Come on, you're supposed to represent the government right now, man. Listen, is he on fucking stat? Like,
okay,
did he go up on?
You don't have to swear at me. First of all, do not swear at me.
I didn't swear at you. I swore while talking. I swore while talking to you, sir. What's your name?
My name is Galen.
Okay, Gayla.
What are you trying to?
If fuck hurts your feelings, you shouldn't work in the government, okay? But I didn't swear at you. You better not hang up on me either, buddy.
Why not?
Because
you didn't swear at me. So.
I'm gonna make you. Hey, I'm gonna make you. Hey, if you fucking hang up on me, you're gonna become really fucking famous. How's that make you feel?
So, what are you looking for?
If you'd shut up long enough and listen, I started to tell you, but you got your fucking feelings hurt by me saying fuck.
Junior, I'm getting fed up with you.
Hey, you know what gets me fed up? When I call the government and they don't listen, and then they start interrupting me, and they don't even let me ask the question before they interrupt me. And then when I say a First Amendment protected word, they freak out. Do you stand for free speech? You've got the fucking Republican Party, right? So chill out, bro, and take my call like a man. So anyways, back to what I was saying, which was, is Mr. Leach going to be back in session at all during his time before his term runs out?
Okay, when you say back in session, are you talking about the legislature being back in session, or are you talking about him just being back in the office?
Let me make sure we're on the same page here. This man was elected to represent Legislative District 16, right? They have an office in Phoenix. They have little meetings where the public can come through. They stand down on the floor. They talk. They do all that. Whatever they do, they have an office up there, right? Okay. And then there's times when like they're not having meetings and meeting on like discussing things, and that's when I believe you're saying they're not in session, right? I didn't Wadsack say something about she could get away with speeding because they were something like that. But anyways, so are you saying that in session, quote unquote, the term in session is when they're actually like you know, of like working capacity. Like they get vacation too. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to accuse him of doing something wrong. I'm trying to figure out if he's going to be back in a position to legislate before the end of his term or whatever, or if it's over in June and they don't do nothing between June and the next swearing.
That is correct. We adjourn in June, and the legislature will not be back in session until January unless the governor calls a special session.
Will Vince Leach be getting paid that whole time?
Yes.
So he's going to get paid for just to not work for the next 6 months.
It is a part-time legislature, and they're paid $24,000 a year.
Yeah, okay, that's not very much, is it? Damn. So, because I think I'm gonna run for his replacement, and so, you know, because we can't have any of these kooks that think that men can go in the women's bathroom or all the whatever this shit they're trying to pull over here in this District of 17 area, right? So, what's his plan? Is his plan to just be done with politics?
Well, yeah, he's not seeking re-election.
Well, I mean, he might not be seeking re-election for the legislative district 17 Senate seat, but there's, you know, I said politics because that means he could then run for a different office, right?
Well, but he's not. He's retiring.
That's what I mean. Okay, so he's retiring from politics completely.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's already retired though. If he's going to spend the next 6 months not doing anything and getting paid though, right? I mean, forgive me for sounding.
The legislature session. So, other than handling constituent issues if they come in, there's not much to do.
So constituent issues. Well, yeah, I have a constituent issue. I was falsely imprisoned for free speech. And I don't know if you were contacted during that time or not, but I believe there was a lot of people contacting public, you know, office holders on my behalf. I'm not sure. So do you remember the Lane Myers case?
A little bit, not a whole lot.
Okay, so what was it that Vince did to fight for my rights or my illegal incarceration?
Well, I believe you know the answer to that because I am assuming you're Lane Myers.
Oh, of course. You don't have to assume. You could have just asked me.
Well, you didn't volunteer it either, but I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
getting to the point that you probably already know the answer to that because if you were the one that was incarcerated, I don't believe there was anything that was done, and I don't remember why you were incarcerated.
Because I exposed the government for lying in court. Isn't that our rights as a citizen to expose the government? So I went to O'Reilly's Auto Parts. I'm sure you've heard of that before. If not, it's an auto chain that goes around. You know, there's like little stores where you can buy auto parts. And I went in there to buy some parts, and these little kids made up a story with the police and told the police that I threatened them and all this shit, despite it all being on camera. So then the police came and took this report under the pretense that I threatened them, of course, but I didn't. Of course, it's all recorded. And so then after I left, whatever, a few days later, uh, I drove past O'Reilly's again, and the same people were out there, and they were yelling profanity and flipping me off. So I turned around and started recording them. Well, little did I know that they had already called the police previously the last time, right? So little did I know that there was already a police report on me. And so I sit there and I'm like, oh yeah, they said the police are on their way. I was like, all right, cool. Call the police. Have them come up here. I'll show them the video, right? I waited a little while. Police never came. I went home. Next thing you know, now remember, you know where I'm at. I'm way out here, Tanque Verde. You know, I'm right at the start of I'm right, you know, right where you go up Mount Lemon. I'm right there, you know. And so the complete other side of you, but still the district up against the mountain. And so next thing you know, I look outside. I'm way out in Pima County is what I'm trying to get at here, way out. And there's Tucson police in front of my house. So I go out there with my camera and my flashlight, and they take off. They take off. I shine my flashlight at them, point my phone camera at them, ask what they're doing, and they hurry up and speed off. So I jump in my car and chase after him. Like, whoa, whoa, because I got a car with dash cams and all that. I was like, well, why were they just sitting in front of my house? If they want to talk to me, I'm right here. So I better track them down and figure out why. So anyways, I follow after him, right? Most people probably don't follow the cops, right? So you're probably like, what? You chased the cops? Yeah, I chased after the cops so that they could falsely arrest me and I could get a lawsuit. And so then I chase after the cops, right? They hide in a little, they pull into this little parking lot, let me go by, and then speed up behind me and pull me over, right? And then that's when we meet Daniel Deloria, right? And so Deloria comes up talking big talk. He's talking about how, oh yeah, we got evidence of you threatening these people and all this, right? They don't. So anyways, I was like, well, I got it all on video. Do you want to see it? He goes, no, I don't need to see it. I already have my probable cause. Get out of the car, puts me in handcuffs. So now I sit in the back of this cop car in handcuffs for an hour and a half on the side of Catalina Highway. Well, then he says, here's your tickets and then see you at court. Well, it turns out we get the body cam. Well, it turns out this cop, when he responded to O'Reilly's, what he ended up doing was instead of taking the call, there was a bunch of young girls around 18, 19 years old in like revealing clothing, right? And so instead of he's supposed to be calling there, he's supposed to be showing up to investigate a call about some crazy guy, Lane Myers, but instead he shows up and he starts flirting or however you want to say it. To me, sexual. I'm not afraid to say it. They don't like when I say that he sexually assaulted these women. Okay, these are 18, 19-year-old girls. He's flirting with them. He's standing there, giving them like an audience, telling them about the police and all this. And then the chick asks if he will handcuff her. Okay, she had a fantasy of always being handcuffed, and he fucking does it. He handcuffs her on his body cam, and he turns the lights on in the parking lot, and he bends her over the back of the car, and they do Instagram TikTok poses and all this shit. Now remember, this is supposed to be an investigation for what Lane Myers did, right? But instead he spent 30 minutes, right? And then check this out, sir. Not only did he do that, he then, the little computer that the cops drive around with in their car, he pulls that out of the car and lets these 18, 19-year-old kids start playing with it. He starts looking up shit on the computer, showing them the computer, all this shit. Now remember this guy's supposed to be there for a call of right? He got a call. There's some like we need to send a cop right now. But instead he spent 30 minutes doing that. Then he's out in front of my house. Then it turns out in the body cam he admits he's actually he was a detective and he got in big trouble for lying under oath and got put on the Brady list. So he got demoted from detective to desk sergeant, and he wasn't allowed to be taking calls. These are his words in the body cam. He said, actually, I'm not even supposed to be here because I'm on desk duty and I'm not even allowed to arrest nobody or take no calls. I just came here to beat them up and leave. That's what he said on video. Okay, so I get all this footage, right? I'm charged with a crime and I get all this footage, okay? So I go ahead and I make a YouTube video saying, look, this is what happened to me. Here's the footage. I show the cop what he does, or I show the world what the cop does to the girl. I show the world where the cop says he's not allowed to take calls. He just came there to beat me up. So he says he's not allowed to take calls. He's not allowed to arrest anybody. But then he gave me 2 tickets with his name on it. And then in the same body cam, he says he's not even allowed to do this because he's suspended from active duty for lying under oath in court. So of course, sir, that seems like a matter of public interest, right? Why would you not be able to show the body cam of a cop doing all that? Why would I not be able to talk? All right, so okay. So then I say, this is what happened. And if you try to prosecute me, it's going to be a legal war, okay? So, all right, sick. All right, I like legal wars. You want to be on my YouTube, right? So, okay. So I go to my arraignment. Now we're going to start the court process for these bogus charges. All right. Well, I decide I'm going to go to the next city council meeting, Tucson City Council meeting, okay? And I'm going to speak about my arrest. How they give you the 3 minutes. I'm not going to stand up and interrupt. I'm saying I'm going to go down there and I'm going to put in my request to speak during the public thing, right? So I go down there and they won't let me put my my request to publicly speak unless I give my full name, full address, why I'm there to talk, all this shit, right? Basically, they want to know what you're going to talk about, who you are, and all that before you talk about it so they can just not call you. That's not legal. That's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. You don't have to give anything but a name that you want to give. You can give any name you want. You can appear under a pen name. You can appear. There's no law that says you have to show ID to speak at the meeting, right? Because of course you can criticize the government anonymously. But the point being is I went down there and I tried to put in my little card. Okay, so I go and sit down. The meeting starts. They give a speech about gay people and men in the women's bathroom and all this shit and how we're gonna declare today gay people are the best day, June 4th, 2024. Okay, and then the mayor starts clapping. The whole room starts clapping. I boo lightly while they're clapping. The mayor has me taken out and arrested, taken to jail for 3 charges for booing while other people were clapping. Okay? Booing while other people were clapping during the city council meeting. Okay? They took me out, took me to jail, arrested me, took me to jail, charged me with 3 charges for that. I get out. I make more YouTube videos saying this is what happened, this is illegal, right? Then they assign a prosecutor to me, right? So now I got a prosecutor is trying to prosecute me for booing while others were clapping at a public meeting, okay? The most absurd arrest in Arizona history. They were clapping, I lightly booed, I went to jail. 3 charges, jail and 3 charges for lightly booing while others clap. And then there was a prosecutor who decided he was going to try to prosecute me for that, okay? And so I said, well, if you want to prosecute me for this, I'm going to make you famous on the internet. You want to be famous on the internet because you think you're going to get away with prosecuting me for booing while others clapping and for a false report at O'Reilly's when I have the entire thing recorded and I showed them nothing happened. So then the court process starts, right? Oh yeah, court. Okay. Well, they start playing legal games right away. They won't let me interview the cops. I went through 6 judges. They transfer it to a new court. They refused. Like they had a court order to turn over evidence. They didn't honor it. Then I had to get another court order to turn over evidence. I had to get 7 court orders just for them to turn over the evidence. Then I had to get, now remember, now I'm representing myself. Now, mind you, if I had to pay a lawyer for all this, we'd have been talking $20,000, $30,000 in lawyer fees for getting arrested for booing while others were clapping. Okay, well, I don't need I don't need a lawyer to defend myself for a case where I was arrested for booing while somebody was clapping. That case kind of handles itself. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's not a crime. Okay, and so you figure, oh well, it'll just get taken care of, right? Like the cops, they're just idiots. But instead the prosecutor now, who should have the the IQ and the oath and all this shit to not press charges for booing, no, but because I'm making YouTube videos telling them that I'm going to destroy him in court, they're thinking we're going to get this guy, we're going to get this guy. So they keep the case going, right? So I go ahead and I go down onto a website. So I look up the prosecutor on a website called APAC, which is this government thing, right? And it turns out that this prosecutor had a profile on there where he had a class that says that teaches prosecutors how to manipulate people, how to manipulate the evidence against people in court cases. Okay, he's literally teaching other prosecutors how to be unethical, how to twist the evidence and delay the case and all this kind of shit, right? Well, on that profile, he listed information about himself, which included his wife, okay? So I look his wife up and find out where she works, and it's the U of a government school, right? School is a public university. It's the board of regents, the board, right? Okay. Oh, she works at a public university. She's a public employee. She's got an oath. All right. Well, let's call her up and tell her how much of a crooked ass fucking idiot her fucking husband is. Okay. So I did that. Well, guess what? That led to 20 fucking charges, okay? And sitting in fucking jail, facing 40 to 100 years in fucking jail for telling this to the world, okay? Because supposedly, allegedly, most likely not, she got a bunch of calls and emails, right? Not from me, though. Not from me, sir. I never spoke to this woman in my entire fucking life, okay? I've never been in the same room with her. I've never spoke to her. I left her voicemail, okay? She goes and gets an injunction, which was not valid, and I challenged it in court, and it was supposed to get thrown out, but the dumb fuck judge, because they're all buddies from the law school, fucking gave her this stupid ass fucking injunction that should have been dismissed because there was no legal basis for it. She's a fucking government employee, okay? Moving on from that, then they say, well, you have an injunction and you can't show your own court documents. They're telling me I can't show my own court documents now. So I wait a few months. I find a fucking, so one of the Superior Court judges gets a hold of me, gives me a bunch of fucking sealed documents and a bunch of sealed recordings from the court, right? Because he says, I see what's happening to you. That they're all of them are breaking the law. The prosecutor, the fucking judge who issued the injunction, the fucking people that are trying to seal it when it shouldn't be sealed. Here's all your fucking evidence that they're trying to hide from you that they won't give it to you. So now I lawfully obtained secret recordings from court, okay? Because nobody else can get those. There's nobody on this planet that had access to those recordings except me, okay? Because I know people. So because other judges have a fucking ethical duty to report other judges, so then one of the judges has to fucking resign, okay? He had to resign from this situation. So anyways, now we're moving through the court. They fucking arraign me on 14 counts for showing the videos of this person, the audio recording of Superior Court. I paid Superior Court $35 fucking dollars for a recording and put it on my YouTube, and they charged me with a fucking felony for it, okay? I paid Superior Court $35, posted it on YouTube, felony, okay? So then they say, oh yeah, you're violating the injunction because you showed a court document that has, you get a court document that's a public record. Anybody can go down there, request a copy of the court document. Anybody can walk in the courthouse right now, request a copy of the court document, and fucking, it's public record. They'll hand it to them. But if I post my own court document, it's a felony. So these dumbasses put 14 felonies on me, okay, for showing my own court document, for supposedly harassing a government employee that I've never fucking talked to, okay? Because I show the court document and she gets emails and phone calls. That's their claim, okay? That's their fucking claim to me being a criminal, is that I showed court documents and people called, okay? Right, okay. So seems really fucking dangerous. Well, they claim she got a bunch of threatening emails and phone calls, but they haven't produced a single iota of evidence of a threatening phone call or anything. So you'd think if people were threatening government employees, they would have got arrested for it, right? I'm pretty sure if you threaten a government employee, that's a crime, right? You're allowed to talk shit about them. That's the First Amendment. But if you're threatening them, that's a crime. But they're claiming that the reason I need to go to prison is because other people threaten this person, not me. Hey, we're not saying that you threatened her. We're saying you posted a court document and then other people threatened her. But the people that threatened her, they're not going to get in trouble. Only you are. And you're going to get class 3 felonies and face 100 fucking years in prison because other people threatened her. Other people. But the people that threatened her didn't. So like I say, sir, now make that make sense. Okay, so let's go rob a bank, right? I sit out in the car, you go in and rob the bank, right? You come out and get in the car, I drive away. Hey, you know what? Well, fucking, they let all of you go and only charge the person who drove the getaway car. That's not how it works. In fact, the getaway driver gets charged the same as the people that robbed the bank. But for some reason, they're in there lying to the fucking court, telling them that I threatened this person. And then the cop goes and lies in the grand jury. And here's the problem. Because I was representing myself, I have the grand jury. I know they're lying, and I'm going to show the whole fucking world that the cop and the prosecutor lied under oath. So now they're freaking the fuck out, right? Well, guess what they go and do? So now I get these 14 fucking felonies, whatever, for posting a court document and showing government contact information. That's like, are you gonna put a felony on me because I'm showing Vince Leach's fucking Senate GOP website where it has his fucking phone number and email? Is that a felony? I'm showing it on my fucking screen right now. It's not a felony. What the fuck? And so I got charged with a fucking felony for showing a government website on YouTube. Okay. So then they put these 14 felonies on me. I go get arraigned and the judge laughs in their face. They were trying to get me held with $25,000 bond. Oh, he cannot use the internet because I posted a government website. Can't use the internet because he posted a government website. So they literally had the nerve to ask the judge to take. So that judge laughed in their fucking face and said, "I'm not going to hold him in jail on $25,000 fucking dollars for showing a government website on fucking on YouTube." Okay, cool. So I go home. I make another video. I show it's a silent video. I don't even talk. I don't even fucking talk, sir. Not even one fucking audible noise. I make a video where I show the entire U of A fucking faculties. You know, you go to the website, it says faculty. There's a list of 600 fucking faculty members. They all got a little picture. They all got a little fucking blurb that says they do this, and it all shows their picture. Excuse me, their phone number and their email on a government website. So I go home and I make a 16-minute video showing the entire fucking U of A faculty's government profiles, right? And of course, I also show this person who they said you can show any government fucking website you want except this one so special. Somehow, this one fucking government employee, this one government website, if you show that, it's a fucking 100 years in prison. But if you show any other government website that is on the internet, you're okay. But somehow they convinced the fucking cuckoo ass judge. Okay, so I make a fucking a 16-minute silent video. Remember now, I'm out on bond. I get released, right? They arraign me for showing 14 charges for showing a government website and for posting a court recording that a fucking superior court judge gave me to expose their fucking lies. Okay, so why isn't the superior court judge who gave me the fucking sealed recording in trouble? How come only I am? Because they don't like me, because they don't like that I showed them lying under oath in court 33 times. 33 times in 10 minutes, this person lied under oath to the judge, and they thought that hearing was going to disappear, except there's other judges that can access this shit, and another judge listened to it and said, "This is the most insane shit I've ever heard. All these motherfuckers deserve to go to jail." The judge who issued this, the fucking prosecutor who was in there pretending to be the person's lawyer, and the person who lied 33 times under oath are all government employees, and they should all be fucking held accountable for failing to do their duty because they literally came to court and lied under oath to get an injunction on me, okay? And I have the proof, and what happens is I post the proof and I go to prison. What fucking communist country is this, okay? I fucking posted a court hearing that a fucking judge gave me, okay? Don't tell me that's a crime, okay? It's not. Don't tell me if I log onto the fucking court website and give my credit card and pay 35 fucking dollars and then post it on my fucking court, or excuse me, on my YouTube, that's a crime, okay? It wouldn't be a public record that I can pay $35 for if I can't fucking publicly post it, okay? And the bigger fucking problem, sir, is anybody else can post it except me. It's my fucking court date. It's me talking. It's my name on the case. But I'm not allowed to post it or it's a fucking crime. Think about that. So then they actually convinced the fucking of course, they can indict a ham sandwich, right? Obviously, the prosecutor and the detective had to go in there and lie for me to be indicted for showing a government website, right? They selectively chose the evidence they told the fucking grand jury. It's all fucking, everybody knows they lied, okay? And the whole world knows there's no way you could indict this guy for showing a government website unless you lie to the grand jury because he showed thousands of websites and I'm showing Vince Leach's website right now. Is the SWAT team going to come take me to prison because I showed azsenaterepublicans.gov/Leach? No. Okay. It's a government website. Okay. And that's all I've ever shown. So then they let me out on bond, right? And so now I'm on bond and I go home and I make a fucking silent video showing the entire U of A's website. Well, guess what? This dumb cunt prosecutor goes to the fucking, because they're like, oh, fuck, because they know they're going to lose. Mind you, I forgot to tell you how I got arrested for booing and all that shit. Of course, that shit all got dismissed for lack of probable cause. Eventually, after you waste your fucking time and you miss vacations and you reschedule shit to go to court and you waste time and money, then they fucking dismiss it because the process is the punishment, right? Of course, I've never been convicted of any of these crimes except showing a government website. Okay, everything they say. Oh, he did these crimes at O'Reilly's. This was a crime at the booing thing. They arrested me for standing on the sidewalk, fucking, uh, saying mind your own fucking. I said mind your own fucking business. They arrested me and took me to jail for that, for saying mind your own fucking business on a public sidewalk. I told a public employee to mind their own fucking business on a public sidewalk. They took me to jail for that, okay? 4 charges for that, okay? So all this was going on. I'm posting the videos and shit. But mind you, they charged me with 34 charges, sir. 34 charges, and all of them got dismissed for lack of a probable cause. Seems to me that I should have, if I was charged with 34 crimes and all of them got dismissed for lack of probable cause, and the whole time I was saying these are bullshit charges because they're not legal charges. There's no probable cause. There's no, this is, you cannot prosecute me for fucking booing at a meeting or saying, mind your own fucking business on the sidewalk, or whatever you accuse me of O'Reilly's that didn't happen. Or what else did they arrested me for? Oh, they arrested me for it because now remember I had an injunction. They arrested me for driving past the U of A on a public street. They said that was going to, because she worked at the U of A, so they said your injunction says you can't go there. But I drove past on a street, and they arrested me for driving past on the street. Of course, that got dismissed. But the bullshit part of it is they arrested me for driving past the school on a public street, but they waited till arrest me till I was showing up for the court date to do the evidentiary hearing where I was going to depose the cop that I said that was like putting the girls in handcuffs and flirting them with all that. So I had a court date for that case that day. And instead of, like, people get arrested at court all the time, it's not a big deal, but they wait till after court. Like, people go to court, have their court date, and then get arrested. That's no big deal. But these dumbasses, because they wanted to protect their buddy from having to go on the stand against me, like, I was coming to court to put the 2 cops under oath on the stand and accuse them of lying, okay? So what did they do? They had their buddies arrest me on the way into court. Into court. They fucking caused me to fail to appear at my own court date, but because they arrested me for fucking driving past the school in my car, okay? Saying that I violated the injunction, but really all they did is they just wanted to arrest me. The judge said, do not arrest him, bring him back in here. But by that time, they had already fucking ran. When I say ran, they ran me out of the front of the fucking courthouse, threw me in a car, and got me to the jail as fast as they can before the judge could even realize it. And then they got the judge at city court going, where is he? What the fuck you mean he's got arrested? You were supposed to let him have his court date first. Bring him in here, bring him in here. They made me fail to appear at my own court date to try to stop me from letting the whole world know the truth about what the arrest, because the court date was broadcast. It's all public. So they arrest me on the way into court saying I violated the injunction by driving by on the street. So now I failed to appear at my court date, missed my evidentiary hearing. Of course, the charges about driving by get dismissed, but not without, wait, okay, so now I got to go to court for driving past, so they take me to court on that, and they try to play legal games, and the Judge Ball, he says the hearing, and he wasn't going to, they have to arraign me within 30 days, right? But they fucking, of course, they didn't do that, sir. They tried to play games, right? And because it's my right to have under the Arizona Constitution, right, which you stand for, you're a Senate GOP, you stand for the Constitution, right? Whatever the Constitution says, that's what we got to go with. And so The Constitution says that I have to be arraigned within 30 days. Well, they wanted to wait 3 fucking months to arraign me, waive my right to a speedy trial. Whether you're a lawyer or not, you've heard of a speedy trial, all that shit. Because if you're not arraigned in 30 days, you don't get the speedy trial. You get what I'm saying here. And so, not to get all off into the legal filings, but the macro, that's the microcosm. But on a macro level, they tried to a delay, right? So I'm fucking. So now I go to court. I demand an arraignment within 30 days because if they don't arraign you within 30 days, they have to drop the charges. So I demand an arraignment within 30 days. I asked for my constitutional rights to be upheld, and they fucking give me the arraignment. So we show up at the arraignment. Okay. He arraigns me. Okay, cool. All right, you're gonna come to your next court date for this. All right, cool. Come to the next court date. Well, the judge starts out by giving a speech about how because I showed up in a shirt that said Tucson police suck on it and all this shit, right? Because they do suck. Tucson police do suck. And that's why Vince already knows that. That's why you don't live in Tucson. But anyways, so all he's got to do is drive down the street in Tucson and see all these fucking drug addicts sleeping on the sidewalk. And I'm sitting here talking about facing 100 fucking years for showing a government website, okay? And so, you know what I mean here? There's fucking literally people out selling controlled substances at the bus stop, but we got to put this guy in jail because he fucking showed the government website. But anyways, back to where I was at is, to keep it moving along, is I was at this court date and the judge I said, we're not here to listen to you talk. We're here to have my court date because I had another court date because they had so many bullshit charges on me. I had a court date at 9 and I had a court date at 10. And I told him, listen, man, I don't got time for all this. I got another court date I had to walk from city court, or excuse me, this took place at justice court, but I had to walk to another court where the court security had a room set up for me where I could virtually appear at my court case in New Mexico, right? I have a lot of so the court security already had a room set up, a quiet place for me to go to appear by video in New Mexico. So I already knew that, when this court date's over, I'm just going to go. Otherwise, I would have needed to continue my own court date, and then I would be waiving my right to a speedy trial. So I thought, you know what? I need to be able to go to my court date here and do my court date so that I make my appearance so it's on the record. And then instead of having to drive all the way home and do my video court with New Mexico, I had arranged with court security to go to Superior Court from Justice Court and sit in a quiet room and do my court date there because they were going to accommodate me because I was being respectful and all that and shit. Because I was like called right. They were like, hey, listen, man, just come to court. Get through that court date, and we got a room for you because they knew that I was gonna be worked up because I would be worried about missing my court date at 10. You know what I'm saying? So they knew that I would be all like fucking anxious and like, come on, man, come on, let's go. I got to get somewhere. So they said, listen, man, we're gonna have somewhere, so you don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about missing your next court date. All you got to do is sit, get through that court date and walk down the hall over here. We got a room for you. Okay, so keep it calm, go to court, and just act respectful. So I try to do that. He starts out with a 10-minute fucking speech about the letter of the law, like this whole thing. And I tell him, look, man, we ain't got time for this. I'm here for my court date, not for you to filibuster to the Senate Judiciary Committee. This is not a Senate Judiciary hearing. You are not being confirmed. We don't need your 15-minute fucking resume. See, what ended up happening was he had a website. The Judge Ball had worked. My wife at the time was a law clerk for a federal judge at the district in downtown. So Judge Ball was her intern who got her donuts, okay, at one point. So anyways, he makes a website to run for justice. I'm kind of going back for a second. He makes a website just like people make Vince Leach for office, Justice Ball for office, but he lied on it. His whole fucking website was a bunch of lies. So I called him out on his lies. So he comes to the next court date. And now he's going to take the first 10 minutes of my court date to debunk what I call lies on his campaign website at my hearing. This ain't the place for that, bro. Go tell that fucking to the Senate Judiciary Committee or something. So I say to him, I said, hey, man, we're not here to have a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. He fucking has me arrested, taken to jail, where I sit in jail for 30 hours for nobody can explain why. To this day, nobody can explain. He called it contempt, but you can't. But then he said it wasn't for contempt because they never gave me a contempt. They never gave me a ticket. I never. So what do? They send me to, they take me to the Pima County Jail for 30 hours for no, I was not charged with any crimes, nothing. They hold me for 30 hours. They let me out. I get out of jail and I go live on my phone. Okay. You know what a live stream is on your phone, streaming or whatever. And I start yelling and I start saying, yeah, Judge Ball kidnapped me because there's no sir, if I come and pick you up right now and take you somewhere for 30 hours and don't let you and put you in a room that's like the size of your bathroom and I don't let you leave and you say, "Hey man, I just want to leave." And I say, I don't and you say, "Well, why am I here?" And I say, "Well, I can't tell you why you're here. I have no idea why you're here. But you're going to sit in that room in this fucking jail cell for 30 hours, but we don't know. The jail doesn't know. The jail couldn't, they have no idea. They have no they weren't even they couldn't even figure out what they were supposed to do either because like we've never had to book somebody in jail who's not charged with a charge. There's no charge, there's no crime. I sit in there for 30 hours and then apparently enough of my YouTube followers called the court in the morning. So many people called the justice court on my behalf that it raised some attention down there. And the chief judge at justice court got word that I was sitting in jail with no bond, no bond. I'm being held in jail with no bond for 30 hours for nothing. So the chief judge Cornejo down at justice court issues an emergency court order saying that the jail has 15 minutes to have me released from jail. Okay. So the jail employees come running up to me. I'm like, oh fuck, what did I do? The guards are running through the jail. And I'm going, oh shit, somebody's in trouble. They run right up to me and they go, grab your shit, let's fucking go. We have 15 minutes to have you out of here or we're going to be held in contempt by the judge. Okay? So the jail, which it usually, as somebody who's been to jail, I'm sure, I know you haven't been to jail, sir. So as somebody who's been to jail, it usually takes a couple hours for them to get like, oh, we got the thing that says it usually takes a couple hours, right? And the judge knew that it usually takes a couple hours, which is why she put in her court order, they had 15 minutes to release me from custody from the time they received that order, or they would be held in contempt. They literally ran. We were running. I was running in fucking sandals down the hallway of the jail so they could get me out of there in less than 15 minutes so that they didn't get in trouble for holding me in jail with no charge. Okay? So I get out, okay? And I go live. I actually started my live stream in the jail and the lady freaked out. She said, "You can't start your live until you get out of the door." So as soon as I stepped out of the door, I started my live stream and I said, "Yeah, fucking that was some bullshit. Judge Ball kidnapped me. He fucking kidnapped me. There's no basis for this. The jail even said there's no reason for you to be at this jail. We have no reason for you to be here, but we can't let you go because we don't have a court order. We have a court order that says take you to jail, but we don't have a court order that says let you go." So then my followers, they call them, my subscribers, shareholders, whatever, people that had an interest in my case, called the fucking court, as I told you so many times. So I get out and I'm like, yeah, oh, the jail was even telling me that they didn't even know why I was in there. This is bullshit. Judge Ball kidnapped me. I said it. I said on a live stream on YouTube, I said, Judge Ball just fucking kidnapped me. And I did a live stream. I said that. The whole world heard that. And then a few minutes later, I got on the fentanyl bus and took it over where I was waiting. Like I didn't want to. It was hot, right? It was the middle of summer, so I took the fentanyl express down into downtown where I could get a. Because like I said, I live. You know where I live. I told you, way the fuck on the other side out there, way out Tango Verde. So now the jail is the complete other side of town and south. So I had to get fucking home because they arrested me at court. So look at this. Then my car got impounded because it was in the parking garage overnight because they fucking took me to jail from court. So then my car, I had only paid for so long. So now my car got impounded and they had my fucking house keys in the property. Okay. So now I get out of jail and my car's impounded and I don't even have the keys to my own house. or my car for that matter, because they took it. So I get out and I say, oh yeah, they fucking kidnapped me. They fucking kidnapped me. Judge Ball. So I get off the live stream. I go home. A few days fucking later, another YouTuber makes a video and he says, oh shit, look what happened. Lay Myers claims he got kidnapped by Judge Ball. Sir, do you know what this fucking idiot judge did? This fucking judge filed a fucking lawsuit, okay, against that reporter for saying that he kidnapped me. First, he got drunk and sent him a bunch of fucking emails on a Saturday telling him if he doesn't take the video down, he's going to be in big trouble and he's going to sue him and all this shit. And the fucking reporter didn't think that it was a real email because why the fuck would a judge be emailing a reporter telling him to take a thing down, right? And so the reporter did not take it down because he didn't think the email that was claiming to be Judge Ball was actually Judge Ball. Well, now we're talking a couple days before Christmas here, and I'm in Sedona about to thru hike the Grand Canyon on a vacation with my wife at the time, and fucking I get a call, hey man, we just got sued. I need you to come down and because I'm a material witness, right? So I gotta listen, Christmas fucking day, sir. Christmas fucking day. I have to drive back from Grand Canyon to Pima County to attend court the day after Christmas for him suing this reporter for saying that he kidnapped me. Okay, so now my life's been interfered with again. And now remember, now this is all before the criminal charges that are. So I mean the fake indictment where they're giving me 100 years for showing a website. But look, so he sues us. We come to court. We show up at court at the hearing for the lawsuit. The fucking judge dismisses it at the fucking hearing. So now I had to cancel my fucking vacation at the Grand Canyon to drive to court the day after Christmas, and then the judge then he dismisses it at the start of the hearing. So he walks out of the fucking court, and I fucking start following Judge Ball live on the internet. I follow him into the fucking I follow him into the elevator. Judge Ball, why did you sue us? Why did you sue us? Why did you put me in jail? Why did you all this? The video's on my YouTube. Judge Ball claims he didn't tell them to take me to jail, that all he wanted me to do was be held in the back and then get a citation and then released. But Judge Ball claims that somebody else with an agenda against me, not him, took me to jail and held me in jail for 30 hours with no charges, but it wasn't his fault. And he said, I hope you get to the bottom of it. All right, right. Okay. Well, it turns out Judge Ball then resigned after that. Okay. Judge Ball quit being a judge after that. Right then and there, he quit. He put in his resignation and quit because we were making videos about how he kidnapped me. He quit being a judge. His term had just started. He had just been reelected for another 4 years. He literally was a few weeks into his 4-year term, and he quit because of my news reporting. And not just me. I have to give credit to the person who posted the video and got sued, because he was willing to leave it up there and get sued by a judge and prove a point that we can talk about elected officials and you can't fucking sue us. So truly that reporter was risking big problems, not me. I was just the person that they were talking about, so I had to be there so I could testify. Oh yeah, I said he kidnapped me. He didn't say I kidnapped me. I did. All right, so cool. So at that point, I think it's all over with. We showed him, hey man, if you fuck with us, I'm gonna beat you in court and I'm gonna expose you all over the internet, all over YouTube. There's gonna be people calling you, telling you look like a dumbass live on the internet, all that shit, right? Okay. So I think it's all good. They finally understood that I'm a free speech absolutist and I will use speech as a weapon and I will hurt your fucking feelings to the point where you will fucking cry and try to put criminal charges on me for speech because you don't like what I'm saying. Because they don't like when I say that women don't have penises, men don't have vaginas, men have penises and women have vaginas. But for some reason, if I say something different, Now you get what you know what I mean. And so things like that, right? They don't. So words like that hurt their feelings, and that means I need to go to prison so they can shut me up. And so they go ahead now, and I get so after that, Judge Ball resigns. Well, suddenly I start getting provided all kinds of confidential material about my court cases, all kinds of shit, emails, recordings, text messages, voicemails. Some anonymous source is feeding me all the information that I was asking for at the court that they were refusing to give me, and that's how I ended up getting the recording of the sealed hearing that they thought the world would never see, where they 33 fucking 33 lies in 10 minutes under oath, 33 lies under oath in 10 minutes. I got that video and that audio sent to me from one of the judges who took an oath, who takes his oath seriously, and believes that my rights were violated, the law was broken, and I'm going to make sure that the truth, because all judges have an oath to the oath, not to their fucking little crony lawyer, because you know what a pro tem judge is. Sometimes they bring in lawyers off the street to pretend they're a judge. Well, that's what happened in this case. So now Superior Court is being dragged through the mud because Dawn Weiland got brought in as a mayor, or as a, not a mayor pro tem, but as a whatever, a hearing pro tem type thing. So some divorce attorney comes in there and cooks up this crazy injunction, lets the woman lie 33 times under oath. The judge practices law from the bench. She lets the woman's husband, who's a member of the bar and a Tucson city prosecutor, represent her from the gallery. He wasn't the. So all this shit, right? All these things where the judge should be fired, the lawyer should be disbarred, all this shit I posted on my channel now. All of a sudden, I get 14 felonies in the mail for showing my own court documents that have my name on it, for showing court hearings. You know, I got served an injunction. I guess they weren't smart enough to realize that all the hearings at Superior Court are recorded. And so all I got to do is pay $35, and now I have the recording of you trying to get an injunction against me. And now I have that, and I paid $35, and it's an official public record, and I can post that. There's no crime for posting a hearing from Superior Court, okay? Unless you're me, or unless it exposes you lying 33 times under oath. See, 33 times under oath lying, they don't want that one on the internet, right? So they'll do anything, including charge me with multiple felonies, argue that I need to be held with bond, right? Like I told you. Well, then the judge at my arraignment said, I'm not holding him in jail with with $25,000 bond and taking away his internet and all this shit for YouTube videos. Like I said, now move forward. Now I'm out on bond, 14 felonies. It's the beginning of March. Because we just went from Christmas. Remember Christmas, on Christmas Day, I had to show up for a lawsuit. So the day after Christmas, excuse me, which means I had to drive back from the Grand Canyon on Christmas fucking Day. Okay? Tell me that's not fucking with my life, okay? And so now we went from Christmas, now we're into March, and they put this shit on me. Well, after they put this fucking shit on me, I go home and I make a video that was silent, showing a bunch of the U of A website, government employees, government contact information, just like showing the Vince Leach website on az.gov. I was showing it on uofa.edu. It's a government website. In fact, if they could take it down, they would have. If she doesn't want her name and if Vince Leach didn't want his name and email on the website azsenaterepublicans.gov, it wouldn't be there. But it has to be there by law because he's a fucking public employee or elected official, all the same thing. And so anyways, so now we're in March. They let me out. I go home and make a video, silent video, showing all that shit. And yes, I showed the person who had the injunction against me's government website again. But remember, they got an injunction on me for showing a government website. And they said, you're not allowed to show a government website. And if you do show a government website, that's a violation of the injunction. Well, since you can't legally tell me I can't show a government website, you can't give me an injunction for showing a government website, you can't violate me for showing a government website because you were never allowed to tell me I can't show a government website. And then you're definitely not allowed. Here's where it gets crazy, sir, and probably why I'm so mad. And so I make that silent video. This dumb cunt, Rachel Stiles, Pima County prosecutor, has the fucking nerve to go to the grand jury. Her and the detective Eric Brown of the Tucson Police Department, who doesn't even know his own oath. Okay, now they're trying to get me put in prison because I put the fucking interviews of the cop under on my So the government gave me the interviews, and I gave them to my friend. She's a reporter, and she posted them. And now because the whole world can hear the detective admitting all his lies to the grand jury, right? Because then they can go to the grand jury, but I'm not there. But then I give him the deposition, and I'm saying, well, you told the grand jury this, but your police report says this. Why does this say this, all this, right? And he's saying, ah. So now there's an interview where the detective admits for an hour that he lied to the grand jury, he manufactured charges on me, and the whole thing was bullshit. So I show that, and now but so again, back to the silent video, because this is where we leave Arizona, District 17, and go to fucking Mars, okay? Remember, now all I've done is posted a government website, left a couple voicemails to a government employee, and allegedly a bunch of other people, I've never emailed this woman in my life. Lane Myers, have never emailed her. They said that she was getting emails from other people, but it was my fault, okay, somehow. And so they asked the judge, okay, because I don't know if you're a lawyer or not, but in Arizona there's little court rules and shit. Well, if you're out on bond for a felony, because like I told you, I got arraigned. The judge said I'm not holding him on bond, so now I'm out on bond. I'm out on bond for the first 14. Well, in the state of Arizona, if you get accused of a felony while out on bond for a felony, then they can hold you with no bond. So I go home and make a silent video showing government contact information. What do? This cunt Rachel Stiles and this dumbass detective Eric Brown, they decide, oh shit, we need this, because they know that because I'm a very good lawyer, I have all the access to court, the court. Uh, I am a paralegal, but as far as I'm not an attorney, but I pretend to be one at court and on the internet. And so, but I'm so good that I got 34 charges dismissed, all this shit. So they know that I'm a better, like, filing motions, all this shit. At the time, my girlfriend was an attorney. Well, local for my wife at the time was an attorney, excuse me, a law clerk for a superior court and 3 federal court judges. Okay, so they're like, this guy, he must know something because he keeps beating us in court. Which she has nothing to do with, which is hilarious. A guy just can't be intelligent and be able to fucking put some words on paper. So they assume they tried to claim she was helping me, all this stupid shit. And so she goes, because remember now, you can indict a ham sandwich. So she goes to the grand jury and lies. She lies at the no bond hearing. She lies and accused me of telling people to contact her in a silent video. It's literally a silent video, sir. Sir, if I make a silent video, okay, showing Vince Leach's website, can you go to court and testify under oath that video, which was silent, was me telling people to contact Vince Leach? Could you, in good faith, raise your right hand under oath and say, I solemnly swear that a silent video, in that silent video, he's telling people to contact Vince Leach? It's silent, right? You know I'm just going to play the video and that you're not going to hear my voice saying that. So why would you go to court and tell the grand jury that if it wasn't true? Oh, we know why. It's so that then they can hold me in jail with no bond, put 20 charges on me, keep me away from my legal materials, have some kangaroo ass fucking court appointed kangaroo trying to help me. I want to represent myself. There's no law library at the jail. There's 20 charges. There's hundreds of hours of YouTube video. Then they don't have to provide the video to me at the jail. So anyways, they hold me in jail for 4 fucking months, right? While I'm facing 40 to 100 years, and I say, no, I'm going to go to trial. So then they, right? So seeing how they lied and all this shit, and how they were just, and I had no way to defend myself, no way to present a case. I'm sitting there in fucking an orange jumpsuit and shackles, representing myself on 20 felonies, being held with no bond, facing up to 100 years because they were charging me with stalking, fear of death. How could somebody, would you, sir, would you go to court and testify under oath and raise your right hand that if I make a silent video showing Vince Leach's website, that Vince Leach fears death because of a silent video showing his website? That's what these motherfuckers actually claimed. They actually claimed that she feared death. Death, sir, death. She feared dying because of this, because of a silent video that showed her. But what it doesn't make sense is I showed 300 employees of the U of A's contact information, but I only went to jail with no bond and got held for 4 months for showing one of them. How come it was a crime to show hers, but not the other 300? How come the other 300 employees can't just call and have me arrested? It's because, here's the part we haven't even mentioned yet, sir. This woman is married to the prosecutor. Married to the prosecutor. Okay? She's married to the prosecutor. That's how this crazy ass story that I just spent 40 minutes screaming in your ear can even happen. Because we all know that Vince Leach isn't going to have me arrested for felonies for making a silent video showing his government website where he goes and claims that he fears dying, right? You, of course, if Vince Leach, if you, sir, Galen, called right now and said, I want to report this guy, I fear I'm going to die because he showed the public website, you would expect to get laughed at. But at least I would hope you would, because I expect you to be a reasonable guy if you worked for Vince. And so you would think that's absurd. How do you fear death from a silent video showing your government website? But for some reason, these special people, these special projects down here in Tucson, it's a little weird down there. They got their own ideas of the, I mean, does it surprise you that women who think men can have a penis would be in court testifying to get me sent to prison for showing a government website? Do you understand the type of people or person it would take to come up with the logic that showing a government website with my name on it means that I should fear death? And this is what happened. They actually lied to because they knew that that's absurd. So they had to lie to the grand jury. So then they lied to the grand jury. The grand jury indicts me. Now they can hold me as long as they want with no bail. Think about that. I'm being held in the Pima County Jail with no bail for showing a government website or leaving a voicemail on a government employee's voicemail. Never met this person, never actually talked to him, just left a voicemail. Showing court hearings that have my name on it. The audio that they give you from Superior Court literally says Lane Myers on it, right? It literally says Lane Myers it says case number, and it says Lane Myers versus whoever, or whoever versus Lane Myers, court hearing this on this day at this time in this courtroom, right? Now I'm sitting in jail facing 100 years in prison for showing a video that I got from Superior Court. Why? Why would that be a crime, sir? Why would it be a crime to show a video that I paid Superior Court for? I don't know, but they lied to the grand jury and convinced them to indict me for more felonies so they could hold me in jail. So now I'm being held in jail with no bond, facing 40 to 100 years, representing myself, no access to a law library, no access to digital evidence. No, I don't even have an ink pen. I don't even have a piece of paper. I have to buy my own paper. I have to buy my own envelopes to defend myself against fucking 100 years in prison for showing a government website, okay? So now I'm sitting in there and I take the plea bargain and I get out. Well, then they put me on probation. obviously they wouldn't send me to prison for something this stupid. But they so one of the conditions was they're trying to say that I can't even talk about my own court case. I can't show documents with my name on them. I can't talk about my own court case. Think about that, sir. You're going to court. You're facing 100 years. You just did 4 months in jail, but you're not even allowed to make a video where you talk about how you went to jail. Or they're going to put you back in jail for talking about going to jail. So tell me one time, sir, in your, 50 to 80 years on this planet, however old you are, have heard about somebody going to jail, not being allowed to tell anybody they went to jail, and if they do tell anybody about how they went to jail, they'll go back to jail. Make that make sense, sir. And so I know for a fact that while I was sitting in jail, people were leaked because my own personal mom, my own mother reached out to Vince Leach, okay? And so I know for a fact that your office was aware of this the whole time it was going on. And as you said at the beginning of this call, you obviously have heard of Lane Myers, okay? So my thing is where was the cavalry? Where was all these lawmakers and oath takers and local fucking congressmen and local politicians and contact your legislator and contact these people? Where were you? Where were you that whole time? Where were you that whole time that one of your constituents was sitting in jail for 4 months with no bond for showing a government website? Where were you? That's a question. Now it's your turn.
Okay, well, I want to make sure it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn now. Where were you? That's the follow-up. I'm doing the follow-up to all the people that called. I'm doing the follow-up now. I know people made you aware. Like I said, you might not, you're getting calls. People, you get calls every day. I understand. You get emails every day. Hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Can you help me with this? Half the time it's the wrong person. They're in the wrong district. They're not da-da-da. That's not the right office, blah, 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 blah. You absolutely, because WADSAC had access to the Attorney General, you also had Attorney General, even though WADSEC tried to abuse their access. I know Vince isn't going to do that, but he definitely had access. So now now explain to me why no action was taken on my behalf.
Because we cannot interfere in ongoing court matters.
You can't.
It's very simple. There's nothing we can do.
You're saying if it's like a pending case that's like still in like the criminal court, like there's like policies or something. Right. You're saying based on like established, you're saying like based on like established policies, like whereas anybody, whether it's Vince, Wadsack, or the next person, you're saying that applies to everybody. You're saying that there's like right, okay. There's guardrails or whatever. Right. Right. So you can't jump in and tell them, oh, stop prosecuting them. I get it. Right. I know. Okay. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to figure out for myself. I'm trying to figure out why nobody did anything. Because, I have rights too, and I don't know. So you're saying it's simple as you can't do anything while it's a pending court case. It's not a pending court case now. It's me suing them. So now what?
Well, if you're suing them, it's still a court case. We still can't get involved if there's active litigation.
It's not. It's a lawsuit against the people that prosecuted, not the people that made the false reports. So my thing is why can't you get involved? Huh?
If it's about what you have been talking about, then you said you took a plea deal and it's been settled.
That's why I'm saying then why you said you can't get involved in it, and I said, but I took a plea deal, so how can you not get involved? The case, huh?
It's settled then. You took a plea deal. Everybody agreed to it. Apparently, you met the terms of what the deal was because you're released.
Well, there's a lot. Actually, sir, that's what I'm getting at. Is actually. All right, cool. No. We're on the same page here because now we're getting into like the point of like where you can and can't do anything. And so that's what I'm saying is like we're at that line right now. And what I'm trying to say is that yes, there was a plea bargain, but it's not a valid plea bargain. And I'm actually challenging that under post-conviction relief. And that's what like there's laws in place for that. That's where the senator comes in. That's where people all the time get help with Innocent Project. There's all kinds of people that get their convictions overturned. Senators help them, the attorney general, like that's where you come in and you say, well, look, this guy did not break any laws. So why was he sitting in jail, held with no bond, when he didn't break any laws? And that's where like my legislator needs to figure out, because the case is, like you said, I mean, I pled guilty, I've been sentenced. That doesn't mean that the case is over though. It's far from over. This case is just getting started. And that's my point. Is now that I have all the evidence that they lied to the grand jury, and you got to remember, I had 20 charges and they dismissed 18 of them. So I'm suing them for those 18, right? So obviously, there's no probable cause for those other 18, right? There's no probable cause for the ones I pled guilty to either. And that's my point is yes, the senator can get involved because I can show your office uh, legal documents that show what they testified to the grand jury, because the grand jury's been unsealed by the sentencing court, so I'm allowed to show it to whoever I want, okay? And so I can show you the grand jury because the sentencing court unsealed it at sentencing, okay? And so you'll see where I can show you what they said in the grand jury, then I can show you their police report, then I can show you the video of what they're accusing me of, and then I can show you the deposition of the cop. And it's 4 different stories. So how can a guy be facing 100 years in prison if it's 4 different stories? If the cop tells the same story 3 different times, so 3 of those were the cop. The cop himself, sir, the arresting detective who testified to the grand jury, he said one thing in his police report, he said something different to the grand jury, and he said something different during the deposition. So that's the same cop telling the story 3 times differently. That's called a red flag, sir. That's a red flag. Okay, that's a red flag when a cop says one thing because the police report is when the person calls and makes the report. So the woman called to make the police report, okay? She called and made the police report. They wrote down what she said while on paper. That's how you make a police report. The person calls, they report it, they write it down, and that's the report of what the person called and said. So the woman called and made a report and said one thing, okay? And then he went to the grand jury and he told the grand jury that the woman called and said something else, which doesn't say in his, so his police report we have a copy of. It's signed by him. We have his police report and it's signed by him. And his police report is before the grand jury. And then at the grand jury, I have that document, which is an official court document. It's got the transcriber. It's got the seal. It's stamped, everything. It's an official document. So what he said, if you just took his police report, if you took Detective Eric Brown's police report and you set it next to the transcript from the grand jury, it doesn't match. You get the problem here I'm saying, sir? It's the police report is what she said, and then he went to the grand jury and he decided that he was going to make up a fairy tale to make it sound really good to get me indicted, because if they don't get me indicted, it's going to look really bad on them when I sue them. So they got to hurry up and get these charges on me, and if they convict me, then I can't sue them. So I know that I've been talking for a while, but let's just narrow it down to this. The police report signed by the detective says one thing. The transcript of the grand jury, where at the beginning of it, it says that the detective was swearing under oath. I have the transcript. It lists where the detective agreed to testify under oath under the penalty of perjury. His police report and that doesn't match. So either he committed perjury on the police report or he committed perjury to the grand jury. But wait, there's not one example. There's not 2 examples. There's 3 examples. The 3rd example is, so he makes his police report. He goes to the grand jury. Now I'm sitting there. I got the police report in one hand and I got the grand jury in the other. and they don't match. And now I got the cop sitting in front of me, required by law to answer questions truthfully in an interview. So I ask him, were you lying then or are you lying now? And he claims he wasn't lying then and he's not lying now, right? Okay. So then I proceed to ask him, well, your police report says this. You told the grand jury this. Why? Well, then he goes and he tells a completely different story during the interview. So which one am I supposed to believe, sir? Because remember, I sat in jail for 4 months with no bond, facing 100 years because of the cop's testimony. Well, in the police report, it says one thing. To the grand jury, he said something else. And to me asking him about what he said to the grand jury in the police report, he's now again saying something else. How is that not a red flag? How is that not something you should take to the Attorney General?
You can refer this to the Attorney General yourself.
No, they need it from you. I've already talked to him. Like, what I'm saying is yes, you're right, sir. You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right that you can report civil rights violations. I'm not talking about a civil rights violation, okay? I'm talking about a police officer in Tucson, Arizona who lied, who committed perjury to the grand jury, okay? I can't make that report. That has to come from, they said that you have a attorney general liaison.
And who told you that?
The attorney general.
Okay.
The attorney general said that Vince Leach has an attorney general liaison to go directly to the attorney general, have it sent directly to him. That's how, like, that's when they say call your local, politician or whatever. This is why. It's because if you report it through the attorney general liaison, that's different than me just making a report of a violation of my civil rights I'm not reporting a violation of my civil rights. I'm reporting criminal activity by a law enforcement officer of the state of Arizona. That's where the AG. That's where you as my constituent, excuse me, me as your constituent, you as, not you, sir, but you know what I'm saying. You're the office of Leach, has a, that's the whole point. That's when they say you're going to go down there and represent the people. That's an extra, like, that's a mechanism that is given to people that are representing the people that the people don't have. So it's like, I don't have the ability to talk to the attorney general liaison and make the report. That's what your elected official is for. So you elect somebody who has who is then granted the power, authority, and responsibility to report these things directly through the attorney general liaison instead of telling their constituent to go to the website. That's what you're here for, boy. If I got to go do it on my own, what do we need a District 17 representative for? What is the point of having a District 17 representative if it doesn't do anything different than I could do myself?
Just 1 second.
Yep.
All right. I'm trying to track down who that would be because I've never known the Senate to have a liaison directly like that.
Oh, they know me well.
No, I mean the Senate to have an AG liaison. I've never.
Oh, not only do they have an AG liaison, but I've talked to him before when WADSAC was there, okay? The reason I know that this exists is because I've had to use it through WADSAC before. I have this number. I could call him right now. I could tell you, I could put you on a three-way call with the fucking, there's a video, there's an entire video on my YouTube channel of me talking to the liaison. What?
Lane?
What?
Slow down. What's his name?
I'd have to go back on the video, but it's on there. You can, so remember this. Hear me out for a second. You're the guy that, like, when Vince, like, you didn't work for WADSAC, right? Like when each person goes in there, they get to get their own people, right?
Right. That's
Right.
Sebastian.
Right. The what?
His name is Sebastian.
The guy with WADSAC.
Yes.
Yeah, that was what I was about to ask you. I was about to ask you who was the guy that like. So Sebastian is the one that handled all that for me, and then I talked to WADSAC too. Sebastian is the one that got all the information, got in touch with the liaison, and then the liaison got a hold of me because like that's the process. Like if Sebastian contacts him, then but if I do, he can't. You know what I'm trying to say? That was the whole process at the time.
Okay, I think I know what happened. Okay, all right. Okay. So what was happening is you're giving the information to Sebastian. He was throwing it over to the legislative affairs person.
Yes. Thank you.
Not that there's somebody within the Senate. Okay.
You get what I'm trying to say now?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say is that there's a person that goes between, you guys and the AG.
Well, no, it's us making a referral to the AG's office. So
that's what I'm talking about.
There's not like a third office.
I see what you're saying. But did you understand what I was trying to describe? Like I said, this was 2 years ago, and it's like I'm worked up about something else. Just talking about this shit. Think about all that shit, and I just dealt with all that shit in a fucking in the last 2 years. I've had to miss a 30-day. My wife saved up her vacation from the federal court for 5 years so we could take a 30-day trip to Montana, but I couldn't take it because I got arrested for booing while others were clapping. We haven't even got to the part where these people, after I got arrested for booing and clapping, they called over to the federal court to get my wife fired too. We haven't even, because that's not relevant to me, I'm handling that separately. But on top of all that, they took away my wife's pension and career because they didn't like how I was talking on the internet. So, and let's remember, I didn't threaten anybody. Okay. But yeah, so the thing I'm asking you now is I was a two-part thing. The reason that I gave you the whole story is because you said you vaguely remember. And I'm not holding you I'm not expecting you to have like the Lane Myers story written down in your back pocket so that you can pull it out at any time and be able to, you get what I'm trying to say here? And so like I just wanted to be like, hey man, your constituent was up fucking Schitt's Creek with no paddle for wearing a red hat. I literally got arrested at the meeting for wearing a red hat, okay? And that nothing more than that. They were calling me a bigot before I even got in the meeting because I was wearing a red hat. It's all on video, right? So how come I don't get the same? I wear a red hat. I'm over there standing up for the things the red people in the red hat stand up for, but everybody who wears a red hat turned their fucking back on me. Meanwhile, I'm out here upholding your right to call fucking Biden a fucking whatever or her, right? People are calling my president fucking this and that. They're not going to jail, right? People make fucking shirts with Trump's face on them, Charlie Clerk, blood down his neck. So like all this shit, like fucking. But I show a court document, right? So it's like you guys support I'm not bringing this personalized down to you and Vince. Okay, I'm saying the GOP. I'm looking at the GOP. What Culloden? He was up there. So let's talk about this. The harassment law is illegal. There was a fucking a bill HB whatever while I was sitting in jail. Culloden puts in a fucking House bill to try to get the harassment law changed because the harassment law is unconstitutional. Whether you like Lane Myers or not, the harassment law is not legal. The Supreme Court in April just ruled that it was not legal. All somebody's got to do is file something and they're going to overturn it. Well, guess what? I filed a motion in my criminal case. The law was unconstitutional and it should be blocked. But the dumbass Judge Metcalf down here in Pima Court, he fucking for some reason didn't grant it. Well, guess what happened to Metcalf? Guess what happened to Metcalf, okay? This fucking clown-ass judge that I was talking about. Well, right after I got sentenced to probation, Metcalf is no longer a fucking judge either. So it's very fucking funny that the judges that I was calling out, they're not judges anymore. but I'm on probation facing 100 years. So the judges that I was calling out are no longer judges, but I got to go to jail for that. Think about that. And so my point being is the harassment. This you could take Lane Myers aside, all this shit, all that. The bottom line is, let's talk to Vince Leach. The harassment law is unconstitutional. Culloden was passing a bill. It said you cannot be charged with a crime. What was it? House Bill 234. You know the bill I'm talking about? Like last session, not this one, right? You know what I'm talking about off the top of your head? All right, cool. So that bill, right, would have made everything they did to me legal, right? So the Senate, I'm sitting in jail for criticizing a government employee while the government is trying to pass a law that says it's not a crime to criticize a public employee. So you guys were already trying to pass the law that says that you can't say it's harassment for talking about a public employee because that goes both ways. They're fucking saying, oh, Carrie Lake this, Carrie that, all these marks, blah, blah, blah. The people, the players are this and that. And then the people on the other side that with purple hair and rainbow fucking shirts and shit are saying, oh, Trump's anybody that wears a red hat's a pedophile. So is that not harassment? Because so I showed up to a council meeting in a red hat and I got the fucking city council speaking in the microphone that I'm a bigot when I've never even been to a meeting, met any of these people. All I did was show up in a red hat and they speaking in the microphone to remove the bigot because it's Pride Night. So if I show up at the meeting for Pride Night in a red hat, now I'm a bigot and they can just say that on a public broadcast to the whole world. But if I show a court document, I got to go to jail. If I call and tell a government employee that her husband, who's a government employee, is a crooked ass prosecutor, that's harassment. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Vince Leach says that, fucking Kevin Volk is a crooked ass idiot. Now he's got to go to prison? Think about it. No, he doesn't. That's what's fucking clown ass shit is going on here, right? And so, and now, and if you go back, okay, I was supposed to take Wadsak's spot, but Leach was there and he had already, so I was like, I can't go against Leach because I'm too new to this shit. So I'm going to go after Leach. Well, guess what these motherfuckers do? They put me in jail and now I can't even run for office because I fucking am on probation. So now some clown ass motherfucker is going to take over Legislative District 17 and we're all fucked. All because I had the audacity to point my finger at the government and say, I see you motherfuckers. You ain't going to get away with this shit. I guarantee you, I will expose you dumb government employees for the whole world. So I picked on the government and I got to go to jail. Sir, what is the fucking point of the government if it doesn't defend you against this? Literally every fucking law written on paper in the state of Arizona said that I did not commit a crime. The facts of the fucking case don't say I committed a crime. There's no evidence I committed a crime. I've done 4 months in jail and I'm on 3 years probation. What crime did I commit? Articulate to me what crime. You mean what actually happened is the prosecutor who was prosecuting me falsely, I exposed him. I challenged his manhood. He tried to file a motion to get me declared incompetent. It was 43 pages of legal trash. I made a video showing how it's legal trash. I filed a response. The judge laughed at the fucking prosecutor's motion and dismissed it without even hearing it because the prosecutor or the judge knew that this was nothing but an attempt to delay my case, delay my speedy trial, delay giving me evidence, delay me deposing the cops. So he went for the desperate Hail Mary of let's try to get this guy locked up or declared incompetent, okay? The judge fucking laughed in his face and said, Mr. Myers is a lot of things, but he's definitely not incompetent, okay? No, the problem is not only am I not incompetent, I'm extremely competent and I got a big fucking mouth. That's a dangerous combination. When you're good at what you do and you talk shit, that's called arrogant. I know your values, and Mr. Leach's values are a little bit, more conservative. Like you guys might say that my personality is not conservative type thing. Like, my social, like, I'm probably not going to get invited to the black tie affair where we all got to fucking stand around quietly and politely. You know what I mean? Tell people nice, oh, hey, hey, No. Am I loud and obnoxious? Absolutely, but I'm right. Okay. And what happens is it's called not being humble, right? It's called being arrogant. It's called being right. When you're right and you know you're right, you can stand up on the fucking table and tell the whole world, I'm right. I'm right. You're wrong. Well, what ends up happening is when the people that you're saying are wrong is the government, right? Oh no, this little guy with his phone and his YouTube channel is showing I'm exposing everything. I'm exposing how they don't arraign people on time, how they make up charges, they don't turn over evidence, they fabricate fucking motions, their pleadings aren't sufficient, their pleadings aren't compliant, quote unquote. Everything that's quote broken about the system, it's not perfect. I'm not accusing of never going to get perfection, but quote unquote the criminal justice the same way the president can have 34 felonies and fucking what I'm getting at there, and so they can make up whatever they want on you. The same shit with Bernovich and all that shit with the election shit that's still going on. I filed a slap motion. The fake electors filed a slap motion. Theirs granted, mine didn't. Mine was more of a slap motion than them. Fucking all that shit where Mays just got fucking forced to have to go on the stand in the election thing and she refused to testify, so the case got dismissed. Yeah, Lane Myers was doing all that. Not some fancy high paid lawyers from Phoenix or New York or California. I was doing the same thing. I was running the same exact legal playbook as the fake electors, as all them people, Giuliani, that whole case. You know what I'm talking about. And so that fucking case got thrown out after how many millions, millions, and millions of dollars spent on legal fees, okay, for the case to get thrown out, okay? Except Lane Myers, he's good at what he does. I don't need to spend millions of dollars because all I got to do is beat him in court and then talk about him on YouTube, and it has the same effect, okay? Your guys' case was in the news for the fake electors. The GOP stuff was in the news for the fake electors every fucking day. But my case is not in the news every day, so I'm going to make it in the news. Okay, no problem. I'll make my own YouTube. I'll tell the whole fucking world, hey, listen, you stupid ass government employees who you're married to a prosecutor, you're a prosecutor, your buddies are you guys, all you got, hey, sir, all they have is jail. You know what I'm saying? All they have is jail. The only thing they can do to me is put me in jail because then I can't talk on YouTube. Imagine being so afraid of what a guy's going to say on YouTube that we got to put him in jail with no bond. To me, if I'm the bad guy, if I'm the criminal, if I'm the one doing everything wrong, why would they care if I'm making a YouTube video? Because the video should just be me looking like a dumbass. It should just make me look like a criminal, make me look like an idiot. But it seems like based on their reaction, because they want the videos down, they want me in prison, they don't want nobody to hear my court dates, they don't want nobody to see a court document with my name on it. They want me to pretend that they think that it's a violation of probation if I talk about that I went to jail. So I went to jail, but I can't tell anybody, or I'll go to jail. Okay? That's where we're at with this. Well, what is it that why would they be so worried about me telling people that I went to jail if everything I did was a crime and they didn't do any, if they did everything by the book? If they did everything by the book, sir, why would they care what I say about going to jail? And I'm not asking you to answer because about the Rachel or that. I'm saying, sir, as a United States citizen, Arizona resident, legislative, pushing the GOP to policies, standing up for your constituents who are we know we're a minority down here in Tucson. You know we're a minority. We're the last of the fucking dying breed down here. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm over here in Tanque Verde where it's I guarantee you none of my neighbors are going to move here from California, if you know what I'm saying. So not only am I the last of the dying breed, I live in the last neighborhood You live in one, you're on one side of the fucking mountain, and I'm on the other, but we're all in this together. We're the last of the dying breed. We're trying not to get sucked into having fentanyl addicts folded up in front of our fucking house, okay? We don't represent Tucson. I don't live in the city. You don't live in the city. Vince don't live in the city. Your district's not the city. But what's crazy, sir, is we have to be controlled by all these kooky ass policies down in the city of Tucson. You got the Pima County attorney. She has a thing to report federal agents enforcing immigration laws. She literally is the Pima County attorney is encouraging people to violate federal law and refuse to cooperate with ICE. Okay? The Pima County attorney put out a fucking press release saying that the Supreme Court made a decision, and since I don't agree, now remember, this is a county attorney said to the United States Supreme Court when they put out a ruling, and she even posted it on her website. The Supreme Court just put out a ruling, and since I don't agree with the ruling, I'm not going to enforce it. That's the fucking prosecutor saying she's not going to enforce the law because she doesn't agree with it. On a press release on the Pima County website. Imagine if Vince Leach said, "Oh, I'm not going to follow the laws that I don't like." How is that? Do you understand, sir? Do you understand the premise I'm advancing right there? Do you see the point I'm trying to make? Imagine if a government employee put out a press release that says, "I only follow the laws that I like, not all laws." So how is it that I'm following the law, but because they don't like the law, they want to just try to say that, because this goes back to the harassment law. The harassment law is not constitutional because it doesn't include the word intent. All the reasons, you know the bill. And so all they got to do, all somebody has to do is say, that statement by Vince Leach, "I feel harassed," and Vince Leach could be arrested. Even if Vince Leach was just talking about something that happened at session. One of the fucking people in the blue hairs could say, "Well, that's harassment." Literally, they call everybody that wears a red hat a pedophile. And then say, "Well, we can say that because they're public employees and elected officials," right? But if you do it to them, they say it's harassment. They say that, "Oh, we can't change the law because we got to be able to put harassment. Chris Mays needs to be able to put harassment charges on all the people defending the fake electors. Anybody who says anything positive for the fake electors, we'll just charge them with harassment. Anybody who says that they disagree with a Democrat, we'll just charge them with harassment and put them in jail." That's what the law is open to right now, and that's why there needs to be a bill. And that's why I was hoping that fucking there was still time for Vince to put something in, and I was going to try to talk to you, because that's where I'm at with this. Somebody needs to put in a bill to get the Culloden's bill never, the same bill needs to get put back through. So that's why I was calling you to figure out, like, how can we prevent this happening to the next Lane Myers? Because Lane Myers is built for war. I promise you, sir, if you haven't figured it out yet, this shit gets me excited. I'm sick, right? I love war, right? I love fucking fighting, accusations, and shit like that. I love going back at people, like, like, they attacked me in court, now I get to attack them in court. I love that shit. Love it. I wake up every day, who the fuck is going to have to feel my wrath in court today, right? But the problem is that they're taking me to jail for that when I'm supposed to be protected, that I'm the face of the fucking I'm the face of the people. I lead the people. I'm the voice of the people, and they're putting me in jail. Like, how can we fix that, sir? And you're saying, "Well, there's nothing I can do while the case is going." Okay. There's nothing you can do to step in, all that, right? Okay. Now you're saying, "Well, it sounds like everybody agreed on a plea deal." No, I didn't. No, it's not true. I signed a plea deal because I needed to get out of jail because my wife was fucking having to pay $4,500 a month in bills alone on one salary while I sit in fucking jail, and we were gonna lose our $400,000 house. Yeah, it's hard to sit in jail and make $4,500 a month, isn't it? Yeah, I think even you could concede that's probably going to be an issue, right? So sitting in jail, well, yeah, but it can also be overturned. It's not, you can sign things that aren't valid. And yeah, because it got me out of jail, right? Got me out of jail, right? Yeah, because if you've never been to jail, you don't know how easy it is just to say, oh, you should have sat in jail, right? And so, but you got to understand, there's still 18 other charges from the indictment that you can help me with. That's my point. There's 20 charges. 2, I took a plea bargain, but that still leaves the other 18 that were not valid. So there's no excuse that you can't do something about those 18 charges or the other 30, sir. In 1 year, I was charged with 56 charges in Tucson. I pled guilty to 2 of them. 56 fucking charges in 1 year. I pled guilty to 2 of them. All the other ones got dismissed for lack of probable cause. So 56 times I was falsely charged in 1 year. 54, excuse me. I went 54 and 2. Do you know of a lawyer that you could point me to who has went 54 and 2 in 1 year? No. Can you show me a single lawyer in United States history who has beat 34 charges in a row? 30 I was facing 34 charges and I beat them all. There's not a lawyer in America that has went 54 and 2, okay? It's going to be more like 54 and 30. Or not 54 and 30 because that would be more numbers, but if it was 54 and 2, 56, it would be more like 38 and, or maybe even you might even give them 40 and 16, something like that. You're not going to go 54 and 2. I don't give a fuck if you're the fucking Attorney General of the United States doesn't go 54 and 2, okay? Chris Mays doesn't go 54 and 2. But I did. So somehow we need to handle those 54 charges, right? 54 charges that were false arrest. 54 charges that lack probable cause, right? 54 times I was charged with a crime unlawfully. What can you do about that?
So you were charged 54 times, but they were either dismissed or you beat them.
I was charged 56 times.
Right. What can you do about the 54?
Right. So 56 charges, 54 of them were dismissed for lack of probable cause. 2 of them I took a plea bargain. They're all different cases. It's not one case. You know what I mean? There was 10, they had 10, I literally had 10 cases going at once. All fucking bullshit. Oh, you said mind your own fucking business on the sidewalk. That's disturbing the peace. Literally, they're screaming, fuck Trump, he's a pedophile, a block away. But if I say mind your own fucking business, that's a crime. And I went to jail for that, sir. Jail. I was taken to jail for telling a government employee to mind their own fucking business while standing on the sidewalk. Meanwhile, I watched these fucking idiots attack ICE and hit them with chairs. And I've watched Gravala get sprayed by pepper spray for getting in the fucking ICE agent's face. All I did was say, mind your own fucking business. And I went to jail. Okay, you're going to tell me there's nothing you can do about that?
Well, there's nothing that we can do directly except refer over to the Civil Rights Division.
I've already talked to them. Why is it a lawsuit? Why can't it be the Attorney General is investigating these cops for criminal charges? Why isn't the cops who lied to the grand jury, why can't we have that cop investigated? Why isn't there a vehicle, a procedural, like why isn't there a procedural mechanism in place through my local politician where I can show you all the evidence of the cop lying under oath and then you take that to the grand jury. Why is there not a procedural mechanism in place?
Well, because we're not a judiciary arm. We're a legislative arm.
Right, but you have the liaison. That's what I was talking about. That's why I was talking about with the liaison thing.
Right. And then what we came to the conclusion was is that you were giving this stuff to Sebastian, and Sebastian was in turn sent to the Attorney General's office.
No. That's not what I said. I said Sebastian is the one who put me in touch with the liaison, and then I gave everything to that person.
And you don't remember the liaison's name?
I'm sure I could go back and sit through a 6-hour live stream and find it, or I got it written down. Oh, actually, let me pull up their emails right now. Sebastian was the guy, right? Sebastian. What was his last name? You don't even say it. Don't even say it. Don't say his last name. Don't say his last name. Sebastian. Let's see. I have 2 emails, so I got to check. Listen. You told me you just talked about the person. The person that you said is who I'm talking about, though. The little liaison thing you talked about, that's who he put me in touch with, who then called me, talked to me, took a statement, and then asked me to email them everything. That person, not Sebastian. I'm saying it was. I called, right, and just like you answered, Sebastian answered, right, and then and then he talked to Wadsack, and then Wadsack called me back and said, "Here's what's going on. I'm gonna talk. This is all on YouTube too. I'm gonna talk to what did you call it earlier? Because you used like the official name. I keep calling it the liaison. What was the official name you called it?
It's the government relations or agency liaison.
Yeah, that thing. What's that called? You know what I'm talking about, though? Are we talking? We're on the same page as far as that, right? We might be calling it.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is I think what's happening is Sebastian was taking and he sent it to the legislative liaison within the Attorney General's office. That's what I really believe was going on.
And what I'm saying is I'm saying that.
There's not a third person.
What do you mean there's not? What I'm saying is
You
that.
keep on saying there's a third person, and there isn't. There's 2 people. There's Sebastian and there's the AG's office.
And that's what I'm trying to say to you. Is what I'm saying. And so I'm talking about the same person, the person at the AG. Okay. What I'm trying to say is I called, told Sebastian my issue. He said, "Oh, sounds like you need to talk to the person that you just described, the second person." Okay, perfect. And then what I'm telling you is that second person is who called me and got all the information, and that's who I provided it to directly. That second person, not Sebastian, that person at the Attorney General's office who got a hold of me is who took all the information. And that's what I'm saying now to you is why can't that person again take information? Because at that point, at the time that I talked to Sebastian, that was before what are the things in the middle of the year called? Remember how it was going from Watsack to Leech? And so there was something that was going. Remember, I know you remember this. How the story came out about the speeding ticket with Watsack?
Yeah.
That was because of my YouTube video, okay? So what happened is they heard her on my YouTube stream trying to help me for arrest because I called Watsack about getting arrested for booing, okay? So I get arrested for booing. I call Wadsack, Sebastian. I give information to the liaison, and Wadsack makes some calls on my behalf to try to. The Tucson police retaliated against her by putting that ticket out and putting those stories out. That's why it was so they. That's why they referred to me. If you listen to what her lawyer said, they were only giving her that ticket officially in retaliation for her speaking up for one of her constituents who was recently arrested. That's the quote in the newspaper article from Wadsack. She says, "They're only giving me this speeding ticket now because I stood up for Lane Myers getting arrested for booing." Okay? That's literally in the newspaper articles. That was the official statement from the office was, "We tried to help Lane Myers and they retaliated with this fucking ticket." Okay? That was the official statement from the Wadsack. And that's when her and Vince were going, and it was like, okay. And then it was like in July, isn't there something in July to decide or something? And then, because it was like hot right around there. It was right around when they were going to decide if it was going to be Leach or Wadsack in November or who it was. Some I don't know enough about the process, but I also talked to fucking Rachel and Corey right at the time. I don't. Rachel's got so many names. I don't know what her name is now, but at the time it was Jones. And so, you know who I'm talking about there too. And so they were all going to help me. And then they saw what happened to Wadsack, and then they fucking disappeared. So my thing is so when I talked to Sebastian and the liaisons, that was only about being arrested for booing. Now I need to talk to him. That had nothing to do with, there was no grand juries, none of that shit. Now here we are 2 years later, 2 years later, and I'm talking about all this shit I just talked about. How the prosecutor fabricated some shit, a special project. The prosecutor, who prosecuted me for booing, his wife, Pima County Attorney's Office. They were like, we really got to do whatever we can, but we need somebody to play the victim. So we need somebody who's willing to lie and make up stories about how they felt harassed. And then when you ask them if they took an oath, they don't even know if they literally are a government employee saying that somebody accusing them of being a crooked government employee is stalking and harassment. Now, again, I'm going to handle all the legal stuff myself. But what I need help with is the fact that I have a constitutional right under Article 2, Section 6 of the United States, excuse me, of the Arizona Constitution, right? Do you know what Article 2, Section 6 there? And I'm not even going to like make fun of you if you don't. But do you even know off the top of your head?
Which article?
Article 2, Section 6. I mean, you're probably looking it up on Google. You know what I mean? So I don't even care.
Okay. So what is it?
It's the fucking free. I thought you were going to pull it up. You want. So you're saying go ahead and tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Article 2, Section 6 of the Arizona Constitution says freedom of speech and press. Every person may freely speak, write, and publish on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of that right. And so, if you really want to get in the nitty gritty of it, in the state of Arizona, and you need to know this because you work for a politician. So you've heard of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, free speech. That allows you to speak critically of the government, other things like religion, right? We don't need to break all that down. But that's the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, right? And that applies everywhere. But then, as our brilliant law judge, 10th, excuse me, Angela Martinez told us, there's also the states can also set their own laws and constitutions too, right? That's why like weed can be legal in Arizona, but it's not federally. Stupid shit, guns, felons in Arizona can own guns, and then they can't in Michigan or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And so that's the state law. The state can make their own laws. Well, the state of Arizona passed their own constitution that says everybody may speak freely, write, and publish on all subjects. And the courts of Arizona have determined that the Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 6, provides more protection than the United States Constitution. As long as you're in Arizona, you actually have more speech rights. There's more protections on your speech, right? Because like free speech under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution provides you protection for your criticism of the government, and then you can't be held, you can't get in trouble for criticizing government, all this. Then there's other things that like, yeah, you can talk about individuals, but you got to be careful because if you defame them, you can get all that, right? Okay. So there are limits on the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. And what I'm telling you as a representative of the state of Arizona, the Arizona Constitution took that a step further, okay? The Arizona Constitution, and it's been upheld in the Arizona Supreme Courts since the beginning of time, the Arizona Constitution actually allows you to speak about anybody, not just the government. So the First Amendment lets you criticize the government. The Arizona Constitution lets you criticize anybody you want. It doesn't have to just be the government. So even if they're not the government, but the key thing is at the end, the qualifier of being responsible for abuse of that right. So you're allowed to speak, write, and publish on anything you want about anybody you want in the state of Arizona. However, you're also responsible for that right. So if you abuse it, right? If you start defaming somebody, right? then that's not free speech, right? There's laws in place where it's like, well, here's free speech and here's not free speech. So we're going to see defamation. Different threats, right? You can't threaten to kill somebody and then say, well, it's just free speech, right? But, sir, if you remember, because I would assume that you're in Phoenix because you know Vince from down here. I'm just assuming that you're actually down here, but you're working up there with, you get what I'm saying, part of the staff. And so you know what goes on down here, and by down here, you know what I mean, south of the Oro Valley line or west of the Tango Verde line, you know. And so what I'm trying to say here is they do it a little different down there, where they get to decide, I guess, where if they don't like what you're saying about them, it's a crime, right? But even you know about the guy because you're a member of the GOP and the fucking Pima County GOP. That Dave Smith, you know who that is? You know all these guys. I don't need to start name dropping them on this live stream because they don't need. But I'm part of the meetings too. I go to the meetings. I was meeting with the people at the fucking hotel on fucking Broadway or Speedway, wherever the fuck we were meeting. I'm part of that too, right? Now, I don't agree with Dave Smith and Betsy because they flipped the fuck out when I had the audacity to criticize the cop who fucking arrested me for booing. And since they're cop suckers, obviously they're the head of the police union. Well, can't have him because he's criticizing cops because God forbid good cops criticize bad cops. The point I'm making is one of them dudes went to the fucking board of supervisor meeting and said that all the board of supervisors should be lined up in front of a firing squad. You remember that. They fucking shut the meeting down. He got fucking nothing. 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 It wasn't a crime. So this guy literally stood in front of these government employees and said they all need to be lined up in a firing squad and executed. That wasn't a crime. But if I fucking make a video showing a government document, that's a crime. Or if I call and say your husband's crooked, that's a crime. Or if so what happened to the free speech, the right to abuse? Is that defamation? Is me calling somebody crooked defamation? Because people call Vince Leach crooked every fucking day. Nobody gets charged. I'm sure, like if they could, there's no people call Vince Leach calls WhatsApp crooked. Nobody was crying. And I'm not saying, I'm paraphrasing, but and so I'm not saying he directly said that. I'm just saying people talk critical of other government employees all the time. Not a crime. But let me get this straight. A guy can go to the meeting and say that they need to be lined up in front of a firing squad and executed, and they determine that was free speech. But me calling a government employee and saying that your husband, who's a government employee, is a crooked ass prosecutor, that's a crime. That's enough to fucking take me to court and say that I'm harassing somebody. Well, how come nobody's being charged for calling Vince Leach crooked? How come they're not? How come everybody that's saying Vince Leach is an idiot, he's a hack, he's stealing whatever, you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, but I'm just making up things that the people with fucking rainbow hair say about Vince. And so why is that not harassment, sir? Right? You get what I'm saying here? Why is it? Oh, it's because Vince is a public employee. He's a public figure. Well, I'm literally holding the woman's oath. I have her oath, sir. I have her oath. The University of Arizona Human Resource Department provided me her oath that says she swears an oath to uphold the laws of the state of Arizona, the Constitution, and all that, and she can't get paid. So how does it go from I'm calling a government employee with an oath to the Constitution and making statements that are not threatening, right? They even said that when you say that we're going to line you up in front of a firing squad and execute you, or that, excuse me, he did not say he was going to line them up and shoot them. He said they should be lined up in front of a firing squad and executed for treason. They said, well, that's not a threat because he didn't say, I'm going to line you up and shoot you, right? Okay, so they determined that it's free speech as long as you don't say, I'm going to do that. Well, I've never threatened anybody, but I'm charged with stalking, fear of death. But I've never threatened anybody. And then they go to the grand jury and they said, listen, Lane Myers has not threatened. The grand jury even asked him, so did Lane Myers threaten anybody? The detective said, no, Lane Myers has not threatened anybody. Ever in his life, Lane Myers has not threatened the victim or anybody in his life. But then he says, but other people have on his behalf. What does that even mean, sir? What does that mean? To me, that makes it sound like they're trying to say that I told people to threaten them. But then when you ask them, where's the, they're saying, well, we're not saying that you actually told them that. we're saying that they did it, but they're saying, oh well, they threatened them. They threatened the victim because you posted this. And I said, well, when did I say go so I posted Vince Leach's website. I didn't say go threaten Vince Leach, but they're saying, but you posted Vince Leach's website, so that means that you want people to threaten Vince Leach. And we're not saying you threaten Vince Leach, but because you posted Vince Leach's website, somebody else threatened Vince Leach. But the person who threatened Vince Leach, we're not going to do nothing to them. We're just going to charge you and hold you with no bond because it's your fault that somebody threatened Vince Leach, but we're not going to arrest the person who threatened Vince Leach. That doesn't make sense. That's not United States of America, okay? That's like saying that Vince Leach's wife should get arrested because she's married to Vince Leach being a GOP. Think about that. They'll say, I made a video, I showed Vince Leach's website. During that video, did I tell anybody to threaten Vince Leach? No. Did I threaten Vince Leach? No. Did I say, you get what I'm saying? Did I tell, right? But somebody threatened Vince Leach. Supposedly there's these death threats against Vince Leach. But nobody's charged for the death threats against Vince Leach. They can't provide any there's no court documents that show these threats. The only reference to these death threats against Vince Leach are when the detective goes to the grand jury and lies and says that, oh yeah, somebody was threatening Vince Leach. Never shows any evidence. To this day, there's no evidence of anybody threatening Vince Leach. But this guy sat in jail, and they kept telling the judge, well, he didn't threaten anybody, but somebody threatened Vince Leach. And then my question was, well, is that person going to be charged for threatening Vince Leach? And they said, no. So did somebody actually threaten Vince Leach if they didn't get, do you get what I'm trying to say here, sir? How did somebody make a death threat against Vince Leach and not get charged with it? But I'm charged with supposedly causing a death threat, but there's no evidence of any death threats. There's no court documents that prove any death. And then you'd think, well, the grand jury, they would just, since I caused people to give death threats to Vince Leach, it shouldn't be no problem. They should be able to go right in front of the jury and show them all the evidence of the death threats against Vince Leach. But I sat in jail for causing death threats, but they're saying, well, there's no evidence of it. There's no evidence, and this is what I'm saying, the Attorney General needs to get involved. This cop went to the grand jury and said that Vince Leach was receiving death threats, so Lane Myers needs to be held in jail with no bond. But when it's time to show the evidence of Vince Leach's death threats, the cop then says, well, there wasn't actually any death threats. So we don't have any evidence to give you. But now I've already took the plea bargain, right? See how that works? So now they're saying, after I took the plea bargain, we actually didn't have any evidence of you threatening anybody. So they're probably sitting over there laughing like, ah, ha, ha, you took a plea bargain, you dumbass. All you would have to do is go to trial, and we wouldn't have been able to show any evidence of anybody threatening anybody. So yeah, I'm mad. And no, I'm not going to just fucking let this shit go. And yes, I'm going to keep fighting it. And that's where coming in, talking to people like you, getting people like this is involved, is because, hey, well, if you can just accuse us of, you can just say, well, Vince Leach is imagine this, sir, not Vince Leach. Let's go to his opponent, right? Now it's Vince Leach's opponent. Okay. Vince Leach puts out a campaign ad and says, my opponent, Wadsack, this, and this, right? Now, people call Wadsack and give her death threats. Should Vince Leach be arrested for putting out the campaign ad accusing Wadsack of doing something she shouldn't in office? Well, the prosecutor will say, well, Vince Leach put out a fucking campaign ad. And Vince Leach's campaign ad caused Wadsack to get death threats. So we got to put Vince Leach in jail because of all these death threats. And then Vince Leach's lawyer says, well, where's all the evidence of the death threats? And they said, well, there isn't actually any. We don't have any. Nobody ever actually gave Wadsack a death threat. We just lied to put you in jail to do that. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my life in District 17 since 2024. Since May of 2024, that's been my life in District 17. And so, District 17, Vince Leach, that's my local politician. I need to get the politicians involved. Because clearly, they're accusing me of making death threats, but they've never shown a single fucking piece of evidence related to a death threat. And then when I said, well, did I threaten anybody? They say, no, you definitely didn't threaten anybody. Well, then why am I charged with causing fear of death if I didn't threaten anybody? I'm charged with causing fear of death because
is that still a pending charge?
no, that's the shit I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 counts. That I was facing 100 years in jail for 2 counts of causing fear of death and 17 counts of aggravated felony harassment. Okay? 100 years in jail because they lied and said that people got death threats, and it never fucking happened. There was never a single fucking death threat. I have the grand jury, and I have every single piece of evidence. When can I sit down at your office and show you? There's not a single death threat ever. But a cop, under oath, the woman herself, that's why there's 33 fucking lies in one fucking hearing. This woman went to court and said she was receiving death threats. Nobody has ever asked her to show that evidence. There's no evidence of death threats, sir. And if you want to look me straight in the face as a representative of District 17 and tell me that it's okay to put somebody in jail for death threats even though there's no death threats, then you and I are going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? And a problem, I don't mean, you know what I mean? Me and you are not going to see eye to eye. If you're telling me that it's okay for you to go to jail for supposedly making death threats, and then it's been 2 fucking years and they haven't shown a single fucking death threat. But in that time, my wife lost her career. I lost my business. I lost fucking standing in the community. I now have lost my security clearance. I lost my civil rights. I lost my right to bear arms. In that time, I've had people come and throw rocks through the window of my house. I've had people come and harass my wife while I was in jail. I've had people send letters to my neighbors saying that I sexually... So the court was saying that I threatened her. These people that write letters to my neighbors say that I sexually assaulted her, okay? So some idiot decided to send my neighbors letters saying that I just got out of jail for sexually assaulting this woman. Do you get what I'm saying here, sir? And so that's what I'm dealing with, right? And all I'm saying, sir, is show me the fucking threat. Show me. Show me where I fucking threatened somebody or where somebody else threatened somebody on my fucking behalf, okay? That's all I'm asking, right? I'm facing 100 fucking years in prison for threats. Where are they? Where are they? That's what I want to know. And now I got people threatening my fucking life, and I can't even go buy a gun to protect myself because I lost my fucking right to bear arms, because I showed a government website. You're telling me that I'm supposed to sleep well at night, sir? Over here in LD 17, all my neighbors are saying that's crazy. All my neighbors think that's fucking insane what happened to me. I guess the person who wrote the letter saying that I sexually assaulted her thought my neighbors didn't know me. They thought my neighbors didn't watch my channel. I don't know. I guess they thought my neighbor's literally an attorney in Tucson. Do you think they were going to think that what they did to me? I don't know. It's irrelevant at this point. But I'm trying to figure out how I was facing 100 years for causing somebody to get death threats, and they can't produce a single fucking documented death threat. But this fucking cunt-ass prosecutor last Wednesday again filed the document. Again! Again! Last Wednesday. Because I'm filing an appeal of my conditions, right? It's all right, bro. My dog's freaking out. My emotional support dog's about to tackle me to the ground because I'm fucking worked up, right? Obviously, this shit means a lot to me. We haven't even got into the fact of who my dad was and what he stood for and what he did and what my family's been through since I was born. Because you don't have enough time. So, yeah, let's just say this isn't my first fucking rodeo. My dad wanted medical marijuana fucking legalized. He had multiple sclerosis, and I never saw my dad walk, okay? I never saw my dad walk. Do you understand that, what I'm telling you, sir? My dad was in a wheelchair. I never saw my dad stand up and take one fucking step in my entire fucking life, okay? My dad couldn't walk, okay? He had to fight for his fucking rights from a fucking wheelchair, okay? And he had to rely on people to stand up because he couldn't stand up. He couldn't get out of a wheelchair to stand up. So you know what he did? He fucking rolled up, okay? My dad rolled up. Fuck standing, we'll roll up. You ain't gonna stop me because I got wheels instead of legs. No. You know what my fucking dad did, sir? My dad drove his electric wheelchair from northern Michigan to Washington, D.C. along the side of the fucking highway. Do you understand what I just told you? My handicapped dad with multiple sclerosis who couldn't even stand up, couldn't even hold his own fucking toothbrush. He felt so empowered about his standing up for his rights that he took his electric wheelchair and he drove his electric wheelchair, not as amigo, okay? Not as amigo like you go in at the fucking grocery store. You know, when you go to the grocery store, they got the little thing that people are shopping. That's an amigo. No, his electric wheelchair, the wheelchair you sit in and you hold the little joystick on the side. Yeah, my dad rolled his fucking wheelchair from northern Michigan to Washington, D.C., okay, nonstop. Rain, wind, cold, I don't give a fuck, okay? I'm rolling my wheelchair to Washington, D.C. to tell my government how I feel. He rolled his wheelchair. And when I was a kid, my dad, handicapped, requires people to fucking wait on him, bring him things. Can't even stand up. My dad can't even go to the bathroom. He has a piss thing. He rolled his fucking wheelchair from Michigan to Washington, D.C. Also, he could roll up to the Capitol and light up a joint and get arrested for smoking weed on the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. My dad rolled his electric wheelchair from Michigan to Washington, D.C. to get arrested for smoking a joint in front of the White House so that it would bring attention to medical marijuana. And here we are now, after my family has been harassed for growing weed over the years. I'm not going to bore you with all that. Feel free. It's all on Google. I'm very famous. I was born into a crime. The government said growing weed. Anyways, my dad was friends with the Oklahoma City bomber. It's a long fucking story, sir. It's a long story if you want me to really, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going all there right now. But and so what I'm getting at is I've been standing up to the government for a long time. Randy Weaver at Ruby Ridge, people think that that was something where, well, no, actually what happened is in the Randy Weaver Ruby Ridge, the government was found, the FBI or the marshal that shot whoever, and they went to jail. They were charged with murder. The law enforcement agents that shot Randy Weaver's wife and son and the dog and the fucking his buddy, they all got in trouble, not Randy Weaver, and the government had to pay Randy Weaver $5 million for false fucking charges. Right? So the point I'm getting at is those were my heroes growing up, okay? Those were my role models growing up, okay? Those were my role models. My role models were the Oklahoma City bomber.
Okay, let's kind of get back to what you called for 2 hours and 12 minutes ago.
Yeah, that somebody in LD17 is experiencing irreparable harm for at least the last 2 fucking years, and nobody in the government that I'm paying to protect me is protecting me. In fact, the government that I was told that I'm allowed to criticize is finding new ways to put me in jail for criticizing them. I'm saying, well, the prosecutor just last Wednesday again stated in a court document filed under the penalty of perjury that this woman received threats. But then when I email the prosecutor and say, show me the threats right now, show me the evidence of a threat, they can't. There's no evidence, sir.
Okay, and since you just said that the prosecutor filed a case, that means it's an active case, and there's nothing we can get involved with.
Sir, you're not listening. The prosecutor didn't file. There's an active case. I told you I filed a motion.
You said she filed last week. You said she filed last week.
She filed if you pay attention, sir, I know you're probably getting, it's 2 hours, so you're having trouble keeping up. But if you would have actually paid attention to what I said I filed a motion to change the conditions of my probation. Okay.
No, that's not what you said. That's not at all what you said.
Sir, this entire call is recorded and live on the internet.
You said that the prosecutor filed a motion last week.
No, I said she filed a response. Sir, you're not going to tell me what the fuck was filed in my own case.
There's still an active case.
There's not an active case. I'm on probation, and I told you. What about the other 54 charges? Are you fucking turning? Is your hearing aid going bad or something? I literally said that I filed a motion to modify my probation, and as recently as last week, the prosecutor is again claiming the story of threats. There's no active case going on, sir. I've been sentenced and I'm on probation, and that's for 2 of the charges. And I just got done talking to you about how there's 54 other charges, not just these 2. So don't tell me, because now you're fucking gaslighting me and pouring gas on the fire and telling me what I said when I didn't say that. I literally fucking figuratively, we can go back for clarity. There's a recording. I said the problem was there was no death threats they've ever produced. And during the trial. And then going back to even last week, it seems like they're continuing their story when they filed the response to modify my conditions. That's not a motion, sir. That's not a motion. That's not a case. That's not anything. It's a fucking response to my motion. I filed a motion. Okay. I filed a motion, not the state. Okay. I, Lane Myers, filed a motion and said my probation conditions are unlawful. Okay. The state responded by saying the reason that he shouldn't be able to talk about his case is because previously, a year and a half ago, when he talked about his case, it caused death threats. So she's sticking to the story. I referenced her referencing the death threats as recently as last week. They originally were referencing the death threats over a year ago to keep me in jail, okay? That shit, there was no death threats. I have all the evidence. And I'm saying now, as recently as last week, the government, the state prosecutor, actually believes that she can go to court and claim that I made death threats. Again, she's still doing it. Whether that was in a document or that has no relevance on you helping me in the 54 unlawful charges. If you want to play semantics, see, I was about to say semantics, but semantics, then you have to understand that fucking the premise here is that I threatened somebody. There's no evidence of that. And I'm telling you, even as recently as last week, they again claim that, but they didn't file any evidence of any death threats. They like to claim that there's death threats, but they never substantiate it with evidence. And that's my point, okay? This cop, yes, I have 2 charges I'm on probation for. He still lied to the grand jury about 18 other charges. That's a problem. So you can stop trying to weasel your way out of this by referring to these cases that are still going on. Let me clarify this for the third time, fifth time, eighth time. I'm not talking about the cases that are still going on. I'm talking about the other 54 charges that I was given in a year. Those are the ones we are going to talk about because that's the harassment law, okay? The harassment law is unconstitutional. I was facing 20 years or 20 charges, 100 years in prison for a harassment law that's not constitutional. They claimed under the harassment law that's not constitutional that they could charge me with harassment not because I harassed her, but because I caused other people to harass her with these death threats. But there's no evidence that I've ever caused anybody to give her death threats because there's no evidence she ever received any death threats. In those other charges that are dismissed, the charges I'm talking about that I'm on probation for, don't worry about those. Don't worry about those. Worry about the other ones where I just said they went to the grand jury and said that she received death threats, but they showed no evidence to the grand jury of death threats. And they claim that they've turned over all the evidence in the case to me. So they claim they gave me all the evidence. Well, all the evidence they gave me doesn't say anything about death threats. And now they're telling the judge as recently as last week that they shouldn't modify my probation because 2 years ago she received death threats. But so then I immediately asked her, where's the death threats? Where's these fucking death threats? But they can't give them. There's nothing to get. She said, you have everything. There's nothing more for. She claims that they're not secretly hiding the death threats. She claims they've given me all the evidence in my case, but she's also claiming that there was death threats. So I'm in possession of all the evidence. I'd like to come meet with you, give it to you, and you can look through it and you can find the death threats. And then you can say, well, look, man, there was death threats, so it's valid. Because I'm going to give you everything they gave me and the grand jury, and you're going to give it to the liaison of the AG, and then they can look at it and come to their own conclusion.
Well, just email it to me. Why don't you just scan and email it to me? It'd be easier.
Of course I can do that. Of course. It's all yeah. And that's my point. Whether it's
Well, then just forward it to me.
by email or phone or talk to you, but first, you know what I mean?
You can't forward it to me by talking to me. Come on, let's be realistic here. It's got to be email. If you're going to be sending me stuff to look at to read, it's got to be email.
Yeah, sending you the stuff to read, of course. Now that you seem interested, yeah, but I called to ask you if you're even aware of it. For all I know, you might have said, yeah, we got everything. You might have already had everything because people in my case were reaching out to you to try to get me help, may have sent it to you. So for all I know, you have already.
Does your mother have these documents?
Huh?
Does your mother have these documents?
My mom, yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, I remember getting a phone call from your mother a long time ago.
Yeah, because she was desperate.
Like another email.
I know.
And
no, my mom didn't email them to you.
We can't do it. Okay,
no.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I thought you said that.
Let me know when you want my email address. I'll give you my email address. You can send it to me. Let me know when you're ready.
I think it's just a delay because I'm on like a streaming thing, so there's like a slight delay between when I talk and then you start. So it's sometimes our like right towards the end of me finishing, and then there's still something that's going to be said. You're already responding, so I'm like finishing what I was saying as the technology has you start to respond a little. There is like a 5-second delay or something because of the way I'm running this through a computer program. And so that's all. So I'm not intentionally trying to talk over you. And as soon as I hear your voice, I stop talking. And then you stop talking because I think you're stopping to talk because you hear my voice. And then it's like, well, then I start talking again because I think you stopped. So that's all that is. That's just like a little buffering between yours saying something and me. So as far as you saying my mom having it, my mom has the emails, but she called you. But I didn't say she emailed to you. The people I was referring to is other people possibly emailing it to you. So I wasn't sure when I initially called you whether you had already been given the full, emailed all these documents, all that, right? And I also didn't just want to email you without speaking to you first out of the blue, thousands of pages of documents randomly without being like, yo, dude. And now you're saying, hey, send me that by email. Now we've like reached somewhere where we can, okay, you're saying send it by email. Okay, well, now give me your email and I'll do that. I agree. I didn't mean that I could send it by phone. What I meant was discuss the parameters of the everything by phone, and if you wanted more information, I could provide it. That's all I was trying to say.
Okay. So here's the email. It's going to send to Vince.
Okay.
To be VLEACH
Okay.
at azleg.gov.
Okay. And I'm gonna make like PDFs, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to like get it all into one thing that you can click and then just like instead of sending you like each document separately, you know what I mean? I'm gonna try to give you this in some kind of organized format where it's like, you know, subfolders or something. So it's just not like a bunch of information and then you got to sort through it in that order, or you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's gonna take me, you know, an hour or something to put it all in like, so I just don't want to I don't want to send you 50 emails, you know what I mean?
Right.
Of different, you know what I mean? So then you can only attach so much stuff. So I'm gonna have to like send you like a Google Drive. You get what I'm trying to say, like a drop thing, because like you can only send so many attachments in one email, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I got to set up a little drive that you'll be able to access with the link that has everything in it. So I'm gonna do that, sir. And I appreciate you hearing me out. Sometimes just hearing me out goes a long way. You know what I mean? And like just hearing me out because obviously I'm pissed about this. Who can I call and be pissed about this with? That's not gonna call the cops on me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, well, I'm just trying to talk to my local guy, right? And I appreciate you listening, whether you agree or disagree. You know what I mean? A lot of times they don't even want to listen, and so then you don't feel heard, and then it just builds up. You know what I mean? So, so I appreciate that, you know?
All right. Well, I'll be on the lookout for your email.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh shit, has this been live the whole time? Oh shit. Hey, I need to take some water. I need to get some emergency hydration. Give me a second. I'll be back.